fun just never stops, does it? Oh boy, we have a lot to do today. But I'm actually going to show you guys this. So here you are. This is what you guys have been waiting for since we talked about it on Instagram. The Forge Motorsports parts series of the build for Project Mark 7, which includes an oil catch can. If you guys didn't guess what these two boxes were on Instagram, these are shifter, short shifter kit, side to side and gear to gear, for forward to backwards. This box is also a turbo inlet, which will accommodate the carbon fiber intake provided by Forge Motorsports, as well as we're going to be changing that stock diverter valve since we have that liquid L450 with a blow-off valve, which will push the air, release the boost pressure into the atmosphere rather than recirculating it back into the intake. But guys, without further ado, before we get started, I actually want to give a quick shout out to Forge Motorsports. I want to give a quick shout out to you guys, and we're about to get started. But for today's video, we're actually going to be installing the oil catch can. So let's get all these boxes away. Let's get that old ECS tuning oil catch can out, and let's put the Forge Motorsports one in its place. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and start the video. Now, I didn't want to bore you guys by taking off the old ECS oil catch can, and before I get into why I actually changed the ECS oil catch can in the first place, I want to do the unboxing with you guys. So the first thing that we actually do have is full-blown instructions from Forge Motorsports regarding this oil catch can kit and how to install it. And here's the oil catch can itself. So this is pretty cool for a number of different reasons. One, they don't have those, I think they're called A-B fittings or whatever they're called. Those fittings which actually use a special wrench to take on and off. They're actually clip-on hoses with rubber grommets inside of it to make sure that nothing leaks. Also, here you do have, it's a lot of grommet work here. So here you have the dipstick, which you have right here. All right. And on the bottom of this as well, it's all billet aluminum, by the way. So that's pretty cool. And also you have a drain valve on the bottom here. So obviously you're not going to drain it to the ground because that will be wrong and bad for the environment. But as you can see, there's a little ball inside there. And then once you open the flap, it opens up. So you could put like a water bottle or something down there to catch all the contaminants of the oil that is caught in this. And the good thing is it's a much simpler kit to install than the ECS one, my personal opinion. A lot of less parts that pretty much do the same function, and it's pretty good quality. It's not even good quality, it's fantastic quality, which is what I really care for in a product. In this bag you have all the bracketry that you need and all the all the stuff that you need in regards of the brackets and the bolts and the washers and whatnot. And these are the lines. This is actually a good point that I wanted to point out. So my other one just had this cloth with the foil on it, and it tended to flake after a while. These actually have this rubberized coating, which is actually fire resistant. So they're high temp hoses. So obviously these are still going to run on top of the turbo, but they won't flake, they won't crack. And then you do have this coating underneath it as well. These are actually the braided lines, and then you have this protective part over here, which is actually the turbo will be sitting on the bottom of this. So that's how you actually understand if you understand, like in regards of the heat reflecting these the heat actually hurting these lines. They won't. So I'm very excited about this installation process. I'm excited about actually swapping this out for a forged one. So shout out to Forge Motorsports. But you know what, I'm not here to shout them out, I'm here to install this part. So without further ado, let's take everything out the box and let's get this in the car. So let's go. I'm going to do the install. I'm going to, test the waters out a little bit here. So I'm going to do the install a little bit different. I'm actually, instead of running the lines first, I'm actually going to put the oil catch can in first. So I got all the brackets and stuff. Hang on. Got all the brackets and the tools needed right here. Not the tools, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Why can't I talk today? You have all the bolts and nuts and stuff to put all this together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly right now. I don't want to drop this and take this Allen key, and then we're going to go ahead and bolt it to the top. So bolt the bracket to the top of the oil catch can, as you see here. There we go. Yeah, don't drop these, because if you drop these, they are really hard to find. They're so small. go ahead and, I said don't drop these, just thread them in like so. Now I'm not going to make these completely tight for now, just because you have some, looks like you have some adjustability of where you want the oil catch can, and it's limited, but see how I can twist this kind of a little bit, and if you look really closely you see the spaces between the things. So I'm not going to do that right now, but what I am going to do is that I'm actually going to go ahead and use the same, I believe this is a 10mm bolt that comes, you know, from the stock mount, and this should work with the BFI mount. So if my mind serves me right, and it does, so this will work perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and get this bolted in place here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm actually going ahead and I'm going to get a 10mm socket. Alright, so what I am going to do is I'm going to take a 10mm socket and go tighten that original bolt up. Remember, don't lose this. This is the same bolt that you get from your old engine mount. So we're going to go ahead and get this threaded in, and we're going to time lapse this because this is a pretty long screw. So this is exactly what it's going to look like. So now you can adjust this to sit more further. You can make it sit flush like this, or you can make it come arm out. So it's just depending on your leisure. So that's how it's going to sit up. I still have access to my drain plug, which is right down here. Twist down, twist up. So I still have access to all that if need be. If for whatever reason I can make like a custom fitting or like a drain plug down here, so if I ever do get underneath the car, I can actually, or actually I can actually put like a water bottle or something down it, run the hose, and then I'll be able to do that. So actually I'll show you a close-up of what I mean really quickly right now. Okay, so here it is in place. I can move it side to side. This bracket's not going anywhere. It's held on by that 10mm bolt. It actually does work very well with the BFI engine mount, so if you do have that, you'll be okay. And then I don't know if you guys can see that, but see the flap right down there? That's actually for the drainage of the oil, just in case. And the cool thing about this is that I have my oil dipstick. I have my oil catch can dipstick right up here, so I can tell if everything's good. Unlike my other oil catch can, this one actually shows you where the pipes are supposed to go, the hoses, in or out. In meaning going back into the intake stream, and out, I'm sorry, in meaning coming inside this, and then out running back into the intake stream. So this is the oil coming from the PCV into the oil catch can, goes through its baffle system, separates the oil and the water and the moisture, then out comes the fresh air that will stream right back into the turbo inlet pipe, back into the intake stream. So let's go ahead and continue with the install right now. Now we're ready to install our hose. So this hose, the way that you know that this is going to be the in, this is actually going to attach to the oil catch can, and this end is going to actually attach to the PCV hose, the plastic stock one that came with the car. I actually had to put that back in because the ECS one doesn't run it. A little bit of a pain getting it back in, but it's nice knowing that the stock part is back in the car. So we're going to go ahead and install this now. So I don't know if you can see, I'm actually going to move this a little close to you guys. There we go. All right. So we're going to take this end right here, and we're going to angle it towards me like this. We're going to pop that in place. They just snap in place like that. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to run the end of this to the in of the oil catch can. Now you have to swivel this around, make it work in your favor, but we're right here already, so we're good. As you can hear that snap. Right here, you just run the hose underneath the coolant line on top of the other lines here, so it runs like this. And I'm actually wanting it to like move further back if possible, but I don't think that is possible, you know, just to get out of the way of the oil, the whatchamacallit, the oil cap. But that's fine, shouldn't be that bad. Maybe I can run it underneath or run it across like that. Either or, it's gonna reach. I'm just trying to make it look a little classy here, just a little classy. All right. What I really want to dry right now really quickly, I'm going to put the engine cover on top of this because I need that to close properly before doing everything else. And I don't know if you can see that, there's like mosquitoes flying all around. Yay, summer. Like that. Caught one. And it's just gonna push in like that till you hit 2 snaps. So we are in with that. So what I'm gonna do during the oil changes is I'm pretty much just gonna have to probably remove this, which is okay. It's just a step because it's literally blocking the oil cover. I mean the oil cap, but that's fine. I'm not really concerned about that at all. See if I can try to turn this around or move it some way, somehow. But yeah, so that's the first part right there. And then the second one runs from the out, which is here, to the turbo inlet pipe. Obviously, I disassembled the turbo inlet pipe due to the fact that we're installing a new intake. So as you can see over here, the intake is completely out of the car. So, and as well as the turbo inlet. But literally, let me go get the last hose and we'll be done in just a moment. All right, so we have the second hose here. Just trying to, because it was folded in a box, I'm just trying to like bend it a little bit to try to make it as straight as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in right here. This end goes in, you hear that's, hang on, lift this up. Push that in here. So you hear the snaps. There you go, that's one. All right, so it snapped both places. And now we're gonna rest this here for now. So literally I'm just gonna turn this like this so it faces in the correct direction and leave it like that. Of installing car parts. Alright, so got that like that. These are actually both gonna be covering the, let me just loosen this up and see if I can work around something like this. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh, you just got pushed down. I got it loose. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to see maybe if I move it this way, would it have any benefit? And it doesn't look like it will have any benefit, but that's fine though. That's perfectly fine. So I'm just gonna put this like this, tighten this down. I want less tension on the hoses itself. Okay. All right, so before I wrap this up, there's one part that we actually have to finish installing, and that's this. So they give you this, metal bracket here. So it's supposed to tie these two together. So based on the instructions, it actually should go like around right on top of the turbo, so roughly around here. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this up. Let's hopefully get the right Allen key this time. So let's get this underway really quickly here. Awesome. So I'm just gonna break that apart really quickly. And then what you have to do to get this in here, you just stick it on the bottom here. These hoses together like that, and you literally just clamp them down so they kind of stay together and they don't wander. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten that down right now. Okay. I'm gonna show you really quickly the work. So you have your oil catch can right here, sitting nice and pretty. Easily accessible underneath it is that drain valve, as you guys can see there, which is pretty awesome. You do have the bracket up here that makes this whole oil catch can sit higher, not lower in the engine bay, so it's easily to access. It's easily accessible to get oil out if need be underneath without having to actually take out the oil catch can itself. As you can see, it's pretty sturdy. It's really not going to go anywhere. You have these beautiful lines here that you just push the 2 tabs to pull them off. So when I do an oil change, what I'll do is I'll pop, pull away, or I can actually move them to the side. Now I'll probably have to pull them out, which is fine. Pop, run underneath, and then just put them to the side as I change the oil really quickly. So it is kind of covering up the oil cap, but that's perfectly fine. I'm not really concerned about that at all, considering the fact that the only time I'll take this apart is when I change the oil, which is pretty cool, because then I can just do maintenance checks on this to make sure it's, as far as the lines are connected correctly and everything. But I just did the install with you, so it should be. So like I said, you have this bracket right above the turbo over here, so I just want to get that done. Okay, cool. So now you have this connector that connects these 2 hoses together. Another thing I really like is that it sits high above the turbo. So yes, it sits above the turbo. I know you guys are gonna flame on me about that, but it sits higher up than the other one did. The other one was pretty much sitting on the heat shield, and that was the only thing preventing it from touching the turbo. And like I said, the only reason why this is not connected to its inlet pipe yet is due to the fact that we still have to install the new blow-off valve and the shifter and the intake. So that's gonna, like I said, that's gonna conclude this video. Hope you guys did enjoy it with the Forged Motorsport oil catch can. If you do like this video, please, like I said, give it a thumbs up, and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to JR14 for more content like this here on the channel. I hope you guys have a good one, and remember, cars are a lifestyle.